could see a little bit of spice, some new civs coming in, but it won't start off like that. No, we kick off the first series of EGC Masters Finals 2025. Wham versus Scarlet Devil. And this used to be a boomer's favorite place to be. Late game Ottoman's Chinese, but I'm sure you're aware, Myriad, we don't often get to see him hit by these two these days.
Very much not the case. I mean, Chinese, right? Very interested to see how they are looking nowadays after the notorious Pro Scout change very recently. Of course, deer, now when being carried by scouts back towards the base, gradually decay the longer they are being carried. And it works out to be pretty significant numbers. Even your closest deer pack can lose upwards of 50, sometimes close to 100 food, depending on exactly how it spawns. And, you know, at that point, that's 25% of the food in the deer itself. It's a lot. And it can make a really big difference when it comes to how much food you have access to in the long run, which Chinese use very quickly, whether they go for that fast castle or the song. Ottomans, however, you know, they don't have as many food issues, especially when considering the military scores, so many free units and value being eked out passively non-stop throughout the course of the game. So that's one of the reasons Ottomans have been looking quite well up against these Pro Scout civilizations even before the change, right? They don't have too many struggles actually keeping up with the military as long as they don't take any unfavorable engagements.
Yeah, and fun fact for you, I've watched this matchup, I want to say 5 times in the last week and a half. Ottomans has won every single time.
Yeah. Let's not forget that this damn Civ has some of the most oppressive units in the entire game. I mean, the Sipahi in my mind is just the best unit in the game, bar none. The Janissary as well, available in the Castle Age, one of the best hand cannoneers in the game. They have the singular best siege engine in the game in the form of the Great Bombard, and just a really potent army at any stage of the game, courtesy of that Mechter once it comes in, and so many buffs available from him. So it's one of those saves that I find it can actually be quite tilting to play against because of these things.
Yeah, it's quickly apparent that we're probably going to need to look at Sapai in the future. I think the changes with the Knights of Cross and Roses, improving horseman animations, and also just people getting better at optimizing. I think that's the other takeaway. Like, that's why I've been saying I think Macedonians will be the king civ, the new ones, is like, at first light, it doesn't seem like too much outside of one broken unit. But it's the type of thing that when you refine it, will be perfect. And I think Ottomans hits that because of these Vizier points, because of these timings. And China, on top of the fact that they've, you mentioned, like they've received some nerfs around Pro Scouts, they kind of lost some of their identity, their tempo. It's no surprise to see them falling victim to a bully of the feudal age.
It's that thing though, how here on EGC Lipany, it's an interesting map known historically for its extensive berry presence, which definitely favors a civilization like China more than Ottomans. Ottomans, I mean, every civilization needs food, without a doubt. Ottomans don't need it as much as other civs. Having access to the twin minaret Medres, which we now see Scarlet Devil opting for, is going to give him a fantastic injection of food for the rest of the game. Got to see those boosted berries generating infinitely from it. But having access to so much food here on Lipany should be quite nice for China when it gets to those military numbers and those timings when it comes to aging up. So we're going to see how Scarlet Devil looks to cancel out that advantage. But it's a tough fight, without a doubt. I mean, opening game up against what many people still, even to this day, consider the #1 boogeyman of competitive in the form of the Chinese.
It's interesting.
Piloted by Wham.
Yeah. It's interesting with the Chinese as well, because, like, I don't know if you've been feeling it. I feel like they have lost a bit of their power. They're still strong, but, you know, if, for example, if you gave me the option to ban Lancaster or China in a draft, I feel like I'm banning Lancaster. I don't know if you're feeling the same right now. It's almost like they have lost a little bit of their volatility. And the interesting thing is hearing from some players that they're at the point where they're saying, I think Ottomans might need to be banned, right? Like, we're getting to that stage.
I see the point for sure. Ottomans can be one of those civs. A lot of it, I think, even at this level, something that doesn't get talked about enough is the ease of execution for a lot of these civilizations is more of an important factor than some would consider, right? People think, oh, I mean, these are the best players in the world. Of course, they can play every single civilization, but the efficacy of how you play those civilizations does vary depending on their difficulty and the situations they are present in because of that. But China, still, even at this level, one of the most difficult civilizations in the game to play, even at the highest level. So squeezing the maximal value out of all of them and all their bonuses isn't as easy as one would think, even with players of this caliber. Whereas Ottomans, the thing is, their most prominent bonus, right? You just invest into that military school, those military schools, and once they're up, you don't even have to worry about them unless you just want to change the type of unit that they produce. They will non-stop generate value for the rest of the game without stopping. So
Yeah,
that's
and
an advantage that can't be understated.
especially when you consider the food demand in the mid game, right? Food becomes very hard to come by, even for pro scank civs with the nerfs. Like, on average, you're probably losing about half a deer to a deer, depending on where your deer stacks are, in terms of available food. So while these other civs are running out of food, that's where the passive production is insane. In fact, you'll often see, like, people will actively build Janissaries, but passively build Sipahi, because it's a more gold demanding than food demanding unit. And as we all know, as we've all become astutely aware of these days, food pretty much is the killer. The first person who runs out of food is often the person in peril.
Well said. Food is the great equalizer at the end of the day. We Scarlet Devil here. Actually only having 4 villagers on the Twin Minaret address. Before wheelbarrow and horticulture, one can afford to put 5 to fully keep up with the generation of the berries. Exactly the same as the High Trade House. Scarlet Devil not opting so just yet. Good deep military presence on the field already. The 3 free spears on the score. Archers as well as Sipahi now. So looking to contest Wham's pro scout timing here. As the 3rd scout is in queue for him. Double stable actually.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess he's planning to pump horsemen. I've seen a few Chinese players try to do this. It's like, in theory, you can get a lot more ponies out than the Ottomans, but it's quality over quantity in that argument. And what's important is you need to make sure you have a way of dealing with the imams, which is the most probable point you'd force your opponent towards with this build.
Yeah, the imams, when utilized to their full extent, again, just providing an immense amount of value, especially with these high HP, high value units like the Sipahi as Wham. Scout does get caught a little bit out of position and dies swiftly to that Sipahi charge.
Well, he has at least got Spearman coming to assist. The hilarity is, I know you're going to know where I'm going with this. That many spears, that many Sipahi, honestly, a lot of Ottoman players will go chow that. Like, that's kind of where we're at with that light cavalry unit. The reason why Scarlet's not doing it right now is if you look up at his XP bar, he's only halfway towards the next Vizier point. You're not willing to take that risk when you've got a lot of weight until you've got those healers.
Blacksmith coming up now for Wham as well, so he's definitely going to look to fight this age with some intent as the spears march to protect the deer being carried towards those Sipahi.
That was quite a wasteful fortitude, no? It looked like Scarlet basically pressed it and started moving instead of like waiting until he was in range to get some good attack speed.
Yeah, he might have wanted to just very quickly get that extra attack speed to snipe out the scout in time, but wasn't quite able. Reactions there by Wham to bring in the spears. Of course, you don't want to risk taking those hits, even when you do have access to the imams very soon here for Devil. It's, any damage taken hurts at this point.
This is a castle transition from Scarlet. Look at the macro. Like, it's... I think he realizes he's not going to break in like this, right? The spear count is pretty high already for Wham. Horseman count as well. So his punishment that he's going to try to dish out is the fact that he can just tech up first. I guess, like, seeing this comp, we're probably going to be thinking men-at-arms if we're Ottomans.
It's tough to say. I'm a little surprised by the castle timing, I have to say. Yeah. Normally, one of the ways you can offset this Chinese pro scout advantage is to try and trade as much and as favorably as you can to try to make them use up as much of that food as you can do. But Scarlet Devil opting for the temple play instead with that castle age. Men-at-arms could be on the cards, but I'm not sure there's much of a timing to be gained there for him. He might just stick to those early upgrades.
Wham also knows. He just shifted in, he saw the gold. So he's fully aware of what's happening. Is he going to... You just race him now, right? Like, China is insane for these tech timings still.
Oh, yeah.
There's Mehmed coming in now, 11 on it. But, I mean, Wham will... This is the sad reality of watching a Chinese game. You know that Wham could start his tech up when Scarlet's halfway through that bar, and Wham will still tech up first.
Oh, it is true, without a doubt. I would say, though, once that gas stage comes in, again, the mech there, a siege engine military school, in reality, is all it is, and a good one at that, because once that gas stage is in, I'm tempted to say that as that food begins running out for Wham, which it won't be long before that happens nowadays, you know, that's when the military schools and the superior army for the Ottomans really sort of starts to come in handy and eke through in terms of an edge. Question is how will Wham be in a position to contest that initially? Of course, the relics will be a very important factor here to consider in early castle age is Wham. Idles out the wood line there for a bit with his horsemen. Plenty of horsemen invested into as well for him. They'll always be good. Cavalry is just such a great tool to have on the map for any civilization, right? You can always force a reaction, always keep your opponent on edge, whether you look to invest into them heavily later on or not.
Considering how much of the meta in 1v1s revolves around cavalry, I wouldn't want to be a team player. That's all I'm going to say. Like, they've always had that problem. We just inherited it. And, you know, you hear it from pros all the time now. We're in the middle of a heavy cav meta, which is usually the way they go. But obviously with the buffs around light cavalry, it begins with the lightly armored ponies. And you know what's the perfect solution to ponies? Gunner boys. Scarlet already queuing up Janissaries.
That's the danger with prioritizing cavalry against the Ottomans, right? In theory, initially, it's just fine, right? Janissaries, they take a while to come out, either through the vizier point or through the military schools or manual production in that castle age. So early on, you can definitely get plenty of advantage with the cavalry, but later on, it becomes a situation where the cavalry just cannot be present within a fight if there are enough Janissaries on the field. So they are then forced to go into just a raiding role. And raiding is all well and good, but if you can't find value from it, then you just have dead units in the water. Swam, looking to get the value that we spoke of here, finds the berries, manages to pick a village up straight away, prevents the house from completion, idle time caused as well. Second villager kill now for Wham.
Exactly, I think I got one early on the tree line dive. The Janissaries have been revealed early. I think Wham's happy about that. You know, the reason why Janissary looks a bit shaky to open the age with is because that cavalry detail, like the issue is like they can't guard everything, whereas cavalry can raid everything. So Scarlet needs to be very careful about how he optimizes and moves his economy now. He's still got some food options close to base, is the good news. And technically, with this spawn, it's actually ideal for infantry. Like, you can set up your deer gathering, and that's the path you're going to be taking to walk to your opponent's base anyway. So it leaves you a little bit less exposed compared to dry Arabia, where you've got deer on the wide right and the wide left, and you know you're going to have to go to both.
Exactly. These cliffs in combination with the wood line provide extra defensiveness on Lipany, which both civilizations benefit from very well. So neither is really up in arms about that. Scarlet Devil looks to march out on the map, securing each relic one by one. However, his cavalry could be getting caught out of position there. At the same time, Wham is raiding whilst catching out the cavalry, and for Sipahi going down now almost. So little health left on them. Only two remain alongside the mech there. Two have died, and damage caused on the gold mine as well. Another villager goes down, as well as plenty of idle time, but Wham will sacrifice his horsemen for it. Worth it, I would say.
I mean, Wham is just kind of getting everything he needs right now. And, you know, this opens up the possibility of now snatching deer from your opponent's side. Doesn't net you as much food, but it takes options away from Scarlet. Scarlet, in the meantime, is going towards spring lords. But, like, right now, I'm just seeing a continuous problem of, like, the archers are going to answer almost everything you're doing. He's becoming more and more reliant on the men-at-arms, which makes me worried about the lance potential that Wham has. But for now, the dive coming in is going to idle him up on the tree line again. This time, avoids losing a worker. He is getting relics home, which is offsetting this slight eco deficit we're now seeing.
Yeah, it seems like actually Wham just simply does not care about the relics at all. He's looking to mass as much military as possible. I mean, at no point in this game so far has Scarlet Devil been even close in the food income of Wham. Always at least 200 or 300 behind, as is still the case now. Wham is looking to fully maximize that day, as you would expect. He understands that once that day runs out, the game comes to a stall, and that's when Ottomans really start to shine. So he's going to look to keep pumping out those lancers and those archers. The classic composition here that has become so potent for many civilizations in this castle age. Wham's going to look to take full advantage, keep that Janissary mass low, and look to abuse his food to put Scarlet Devil even further behind.
Spring count is getting somewhat threatening. You have to be careful about how you engage here for Wham. But, like, right now, you know, he's got to make a choice. Like, am I now optimizing to play the map, moving out towards ball? Or do I start thinking about song and granaries, right? Like, that's going to be something that matters here in the next 2 or 3 minutes. You already highlighted the fact that Ottomans won't feel that same strain, the ability to build units for free. But this is a great dive. Wham jumps in, finds a few worker kills straight away. A little bit of an overcommitment here, but the workers, they weren't moving. No, Scarlet, too busy focusing on the military, loses additional economy here and on the gold. The raid is still happening there. We're now up to double digits on the kill count in favor of Wham.
Raids from the north, the west, and the south here. Wham is everywhere at the same time, and you can see the result of that. 10 villagers down, killed by Wham, and even further lead as a result of that here for Wham because of those Imperial officials. 15 economy now in favor. And those Lancers are still being a nuisance even now, just dragging away more military than Scarlet Devil is really willing to expend for them. So plenty of Sipahi on the field, but with so many Knights for Wham, it's gonna be difficult to get full value out of them. We'd have some siege now. Plenty of spring golds on the field for Scarlet, but again, just not really the unit that's gonna deal with what Wham is producing.
I mean, it just dies straight away to the archers, the problem. You know, there's a few spin with them to address, but it doesn't really matter. Like, really what Scarlet needs, I think, is to be back on Sipahi. Can we check the military schools? Because I don't think he's using them for Sipahi at all, right? Like, he's just split them up between different things, like men-at-arms, spim, and etc. Yeah, like, this surprises me, man. I get that he has to answer the knights, but surely Sipahi is your king here. Because otherwise, how are you dealing with 32+ archers?
Yeah, might be a bit of a case of slightly unsure of exactly what to make. Might as well cover all bases to make sure you have all of the different types of units, right? It's a difficult position now, especially for Scarlet Devil. As you mentioned, out of all civilizations in the game, Ottoman is one of the ones that really doesn't need villages as much as others, but being so behind so early really begins to sting, and we can already see that being manifested in the income. Despite his 3 relic advantage, Scarlet was behind in gold, way behind in wood, and still behind in food, even now compared to Wham's Chinese. And that archer mass is starting to get so severely out of control, and with the knights to support, soon enough, I think Wham is going to go for a timing that Scarlet Devil will have a hard time holding.
Yeah, it's getting a little unusual, isn't it, right? Scarlet now adding in additional spears after he noses up against mass archers, but yet the Sipahi count doesn't continue to trend. Good news, at least for him, is Wham's building extra spears, so the squirrels have some use there. Sipahi need to be careful about positioning. Body blocks coming in. Wham tries to slow him down, but does weave his way out. But it feels like we are starting to approach that inevitable point. Like, this military lead is scaling. The eco remains strong. And you know, in terms of access to raw resources that matter, we already saw how often Scarlet's been raided on that North Gold. Imagine what happens when you move it 5 tiles further out to the further North Gold.
Now, Sipahi can be the great comeback mechanic in these types of situations. Usually all you need is one little run by onto the wood line or onto a gold mine, and before long, suddenly it'll be Scarlet Devil who's ahead by 10 villages. But with the amount of vision and control Wham has on the map right now, he's going to look to leverage that as he looks for an entrance through this wood line. But Scarlet Devil is in position in a good entrenched spot there with the siege, with the Janissaries between buildings and underneath that town center. I think we did maybe have the Janissary Vizier point called in. I'm not too sure. The number has been building.
He's sneaking the gold again. This is a double-pronged assault. Wham's going to do it to him again.
Oh, no.
He's dragging him out of the base. There's a raid coming in towards the gold now. It's already connected. Extra worker kills found. Adds another +1. And now able to give the chase as the retreat is going to be forced.
No more gold for Scarlet Devil when he needs it most to produce more men-at-arms, more Janissaries. That is not going to be an option for him any longer as long as those Lancers are on the gold. He's going to look to keep holding this center line there, not wanting to give Wham an entrance into his base and get himself further idle time. Janissaries move in position to deal with the Lancers, but that opens up the front a little bit as the archers come forward and just start shooting and eking value. The archers within mobility. I mean, Scarlet Devil's composition is fully rounded. He has everything he needs, but the numbers for any type of unit just aren't there.
It's got to be careful, but right, like, because he's sacking the few spin he has. It's like, you're right, like, Wham is in a pretty good position, but the one concern here right now, these type of trades, is like, he's bulking all archers south side, and if you saw Scarlet, he pulled his Janissaries to the north to address the night raids. So one of the number one things you've got archers to contest isn't even in this fight, right? So, like, you've now got this weird situation where Wham doesn't feel confident to commit his Lancers when they're strongest, and is instead kind of throwing away infantry. But what I do like is what's coming next. What I say I do like, what I really mean is you're a disgusting, filthy human being. Nest of bees are hitting the field. And this is the great equalizer in every big fight we've seen.
The nest of bees. Few units causes such hatred and such anger as those nest of bees. Now, there is no clock tower, if I'm not mistaken. I think we did have the Imperial Palace. I may be wrong. Didn't quite see the age up there.
It's the Imperial Palace,
yeah. So the nest of bees aren't quite as oppressive as they normally could be. And typically, there's kind of no better unit at dealing with siege in the game than the Sipahi, courtesy of that additional range, allowing them to even hit past spearmen on top of siege. But with the amount of mass Wham has, you know, he's putting great respect on the army here from Scarlet Devil. He's still actively producing spearmen, despite his great mass of lancers and archers, not leaving himself any room for error when it comes to these fights. And the potential for Tulucius siege engines, that's not going to be there. You can see just how relentlessly Wham is producing here. 5 already on the field. The 6th one in queue. I think the siege engine is, the siege workshop is being supervised at this stage. Wham's going for a timing, as the Barbican is coming up now as well. Further villager padding with the Song Dynasty, as well as a bit of defense and more vision, of course, around that Barbican. And the sacred sites held now for 2 minutes as well. Wham is just looking to choke Scarlet Devil.
How do you feel about this horseman switch, though? Like, it feels a little bit weird, no? Right? Up against Janissaries, up against better horsemen. Like, what's Wham's idea with it? Is he just vet?
I'm not too sure, really, right? It seems a little out of place. Might have been a case of where he just didn't quite have the gold there to produce lances for a moment and produce some horsemen. Could also be meant as a distraction, maybe. Force out more spears around the flanks. Draw some more attention away.
Wait,
Just another raid here on the gold. Wham! It's just relentless.
I think he might have damaged short-term memory, right? It's just not processing through to the long-term because it keeps happening in the same location every time. And every time he seems as shocked and confused as the last. Nesta Bs in these choke points are absolutely toxic. Gonna start pushing up. Sipahi have to front it. But if the Nesta Bs just switch targets to the back line, they can melt this all. They're allowed it to be for now. The men-at-arms are going to take their place. But now they're switching targets. Archer's being target-fired. Lancers on the south side addressing the Janissaries. They're getting clubbed down quickly. But the front line of Scarlet is struggling to break through this choke point. Nesta Bs, once again the great equalizer. Has he got enough Sipahi left to crack through this?
It's just not enough. Only 2 on the field, then they're falling so quickly, KP. Wham turning the advantage of a choke point that wouldn't normally favor Scarlet Devil's Ottomans in this case with the sheer amount of sprinkles that he has. He started around completely with these Nesta Bs. You just can't fight these in the choke point. And, you know, the extra attack speed, Scarlet Devil did great job to get as much damage as he could with these sprinkles, but it's just not really enough.
No, it's ridiculous. And this is the thing as well. Nesta Bs beat Springald Mass. Like, it's just a fact. We all know it. We've seen it. You're seeing it right now. Like, it's just another classic Chinese experience. Knobs to knock you out. Backline getting sniped. Janissaries barely existing. Both players have been drained low, yes, but Scarlet, he needs to somehow rally mass food to get back into Sipahi if he wants to shut this down before he gets shut out.
The remass clearly favors Wham here. Now we see that horseman switch that we were hinting at earlier coming in full force. When the Janissary numbers are no longer there and the siege investment is so severe. Oh, but the one Sipahi actually. Oh, there's no more frontline here for Wham.
There's literally no frontline.
Those Nesta Bs. Yeah.
Wait,
Just
wait,
like
he's
that.
got horseman. He's got horseman on the way. Did he
Yeah.
do a farm switch? I think he did. That's why it's weak. If you check at the back stone in the Imperial Palace, Wham's
There it
began
is.
a granary transition as well. So, like, they've both been switching food, but as we know, China has this big, like, ... in their sentence when they go granaries, whereas, like, Scarlet has been a bit more organic over time here. So, armies wiped on both sides. Obliteration of value, yes. A way that Scarlet can bounce out, potentially, but the big problem he now has is that clock. We are halfway through the Sacred Site win con, and I'm curious to see if Wham set up any strong defenses on the outskirts. Okay, yeah, he's got outposts. He's going Screamer play.
Yeah, looking to really double down on these sacred sites, keep control of them. You know, a sacred victory at this stage, it's not something that's very common or realistic, but just having that gold trickle and the presence on the map around those sites is the kind of map control you need to win a regular game anyway. Somehow behind all of this, KP, Scarlet Devil just casually sneaked in a second town center there. Don't know how he managed that one and survived at the same time. Quite impressive, I have to say. But Wham, looking to maximize the trash composition now. Holding that gold for the upgrades as needed and for that granary transition as well. Just making the cheapest units available here. The classic horsemen, spearmen, as well as archers.
We are seeing some attempts at raids. They're going to be dodged out quite nicely. But the farms have been scoured, and it's just always the code.
Not
This
again.
game is literally being decided by this screen. It's ridiculous. I think that's now, what, in total, probably 75% of his worker kills have come from these 2 gold locations.
It's pretty ridiculous. Like, The thing is, you can't really afford to secure all of these different sites here for Scarlet, especially sliding in that second DC as well as the military schools. And again, he gets found out under there as well. The outpost at this point is just for show. Scarlet just being picked apart bit by bit. It's too much to keep up with. Wham! It's just everywhere.
And that's been the entire masterclass here. Wham has been striking multiple locations at once, and every single time, Scarlet has been found lacking. He's going to raid himself this time, slap in towards the ball location, shuts down a few workers. So we do get a strike back. Those are the first worker kills on the board for Scarlet. However, the Nesta Bees are back with a Fury, and the Sipahi have got to answer big against Mass Spearman. Snipe on the back, it catches the Jannies, it catches the Springolds. He spreads the line, there's no breakthrough here. And the Sipahi, I don't know if they're ever going to be quick enough. The front line is melting a bit, hold on. Jannies, coming in big with extra damage, he bursts through, he jumps in, wham! Needs to tug-tail a run here. Full siege exposure.
Yeah, the concave at the beginning of the fight looked really good there for Scarlet Devil, despite the mass favoring Wham. So when you have that surround that Scarlet Devil had in combination with those Springolds as well as the Men-at-Arms to serve as a buffer between the Sipahi's range so they can activate that fortitude without taking so much damage, you can see the sheer devastation that that unit is able to cause once it's able to hit without fear using that fortitude. It's just a complete wipe of Wham's frontline, and suddenly Scarlet Devil doubling up in military.
I mean, it was phenomenally well executed by him, right? As you mentioned, the Men-at-Arms just coming in clutch against this Spear Horseman comp, just has no breach power. We even saw Wham adding in his own Springles, but the problem is it's not mass Men-at-Arms. It's a trickle, and that makes the Springles less impactful for him here. So we are going to have Wham still controlling the map. Sacred Site, however, has been decapped. He has got more farms coming in. His eco is going to start boosting, but you've got to remember, when we look at these top bars, it doesn't calculate the military school effects. Not just that, Scarlet just became the big-ass Bombard warrior. We've got the Bombard spawned in the Castle Age.
And this is the kind of situation and timing that China fears the most. You have done so much damage. You've done great to leverage the lead through that deer so far in this mid-game. But what do you have to show for it at the end, really? There is a 10-villager lead here for Wham. There is a pretty decent granary transition starting. Has been going on for a good while now, but he's behind in food at this point, KP, and behind in military. Nearly 30 Sipahi on the field, 12 Janissaries, plenty of men-at-arms, the Springolds, and like you mentioned now, the Great Bombard on the field as well. That death ball that we know so notoriously after years by now is starting to form here for Scarlet Devil. And Wham, I think he's slowly going to start losing his position in this mid-map. One side has already been decapped. The south one is next on the menu here for Scarlet. Wham has to scramble for that farm transition and the composition necessary to deal with this ASAP. Otherwise, Scarlet Devil might look to really crawl his way back into this one.
I mean, how is this happening, right? We're up to 33 worker deaths for Scarlet, and yet it's a shrug every time. He's addressing it with a small force, but he's now bringing the full force down upon Wham. That march across is difficult for him to answer. We've got Mass Spearmen into 6 Springolds. You're going to watch them disappear. There's going to be milk cartons with pictures of spears on the side as we try to figure out where they went. And the Sipahi, if they get anywhere near those farms, if you think 33 worker kills is impressive so far, these bad boys could easily net, equal, and improve upon that in less than a minute.
Wham understands the backfield that he's found himself having to press on right now. The Barbican itself being challenged now by Scarlet Devil, showing no fear.
Great Bombard. The Great... What was that Great Bombard doing? Failure for the engine to start. I think he's locked down in the clutch there. And it's going to come in clutch for Wham. That's one big threat he doesn't have to worry about now. Pushes in. I don't know why Elgato's been part of this moment. They haven't got the replay for us. But the Janissaries, we're going to have the replay of that. They melt straight away. Scarlet, after posturing so aggressively, so well, the big question mark is where the hell are the Cav?
A bit out of position, Scarlet Devil found himself there and pays a dear price for it here at that fight. That's the danger with moving out so aggressively, especially with such a scattered, slow army as Scarlet Devil has. Ottomans historically do suffer from this lack of mobility and positional possibility in this mid-game when they have so many different units alongside siege to control as well. And Wham, fully punishing that disadvantage here on the defense, and once again reasserts control over the center, exactly what he needed. And suddenly Wham back in a good little position here with a nice firm lead. Not quite enough to really break through and push into Scarlet Devil's base, but he has that mid-map control, which is so crucial in these points.
Age of Empires 4 is a cyclical game. We saw the return to Pro Scouts, we saw its demise, and now we're seeing the return to Mass Spearman next to Bees, a classic strat for China. One that not many would have expected to see coming through. But I think many people would have thought this would still be going for 30 minutes. Wham! Start stepping the retreat. Gets the reload shots out. Spearman braced for the charge in. Sipahi with the full A-click, but Scarlet is skewering himself on these spears. It's not the same as it's been before. It's a much thinner herd to try and break through here. And the Spearmen, it looks like they're going to flop on the north side. They're holding on the south. The siege has to retreat. But this is not the same dominant win Scarlet took last time. This siege stepped up.
The destroyed value tells the tale there. Creeping 2,000 ahead, Wham has just the amount of Sipahi. So much animal cruelty there with those horses. Scarlet Devil sacrificing all to try to eke a lead in that fight and isn't able to find it. He clears out the Spearman mass, but the siege KP is virtually untouched. The classic oppressiveness here for China. The siege in combination with nothing but Spearmen. One of the best siege civilizations in the game. You're just using Spearmen to defend them, and is enough in this position. Again, Wham holds the center and forces such an investment from Scarlet Devil there to no avail.
I'll tell you what, I thought I was concerned for the horse population in World War I, but that fight has me more concerned. I mean, the fact that he just tried to brute force that, it shows you how much people value Sipahi. But Wham, I mean, the patience, the understanding there, not bulking, not holding under the pressure, utilizing his own wall to stop us around, which is the only way that Scarlet could really win that fight. But this is the funny thing. When we're at this stage of the game, we're in meat grinder mode. Really, what we're looking for is the pacing for one player to kick it into Imperial. If Wham can win one more fight, not even a big one, he can win that race.
I just think Scarlet Devil needed like twice the number of Sipahi there, right? You need like 2 Sipahi for every Spearman. It's the best counter unit against Spearman if we're being
so you want him to have
here.
80 Sipahi to voice. Like,
You're
oh yeah,
damn right.
Not much. Yeah, this is a reasonable price to pay. That army would only cost you. Do you want to do the maths on that? That ends up being, I think, 12,800 resources. You know,
I can't quite count that high.
I'm surprised I did, to be honest with you. You don't want to know how quickly I was like popping my fingers up to get the numbers.
Any aid that we could take, we will take in this case. Speaking of Imperial Age, the Istanbul Observatory, actually it's Scarlet Devil that places it down first, although wouldn't surprise me if Wham is the one who gets up first, courtesy of that build speed.
Yeah, also the number's deceptive. I don't think that was 24 straight away, more with delayed arriving.
Yeah.
But can we check his great gatehouse? I wonder if he has that classic issue. Yeah, he just pulled him off because he does. He has the awkward issue where he's building near the sacred sites, I think. Yeah. His villagers we were just watching.
It's a front gate wall gatehouse now, so Wham. Showing quite big cojones here, not really worried about the Sipahi raids onto those granaries. Normally we do see a conservative gatehouse, especially nowadays, as just the damage output from it has been weakened. Yet once that change with the Nested Bees has come in a while ago now. But the Imp is in
even
both
animated
players.
now.
That's right.
They look like real units. We've evolved. Scarlet, though. Imperial is a hell of a drug for the Ottomans. With the Istanbul Observatory, the rapid reinforcement is important here. So, like, for Wham, this is now a unlimited meat game. You know, try and get enough troops out to overwhelm, to stop a repro out of military schools quick enough. That's your advantage. Economy. Turned into meat, turned into a mosh pit.
Elite status on the archers, as well as the Sipahi coming in for Scarlet Devil. Elite on the Spearmen for Wham, as well as additional barrels and sprinkled crews coming in for him as well. Really looking to double down on this composition, Wham is, but the archer mass from Scarlet is now looking really... Yeah,
wait.
Catch the siege.
What? The archers just stand still. They think they're playing baseball right now, trying to catch hot potatoes. The Nested Bees wipe the blob. Wham now pushing forward. He's going to force the recommitment here. The archers are standing still again. Those additional barrels are barreling forward. Scarlet, it's only Sipahi left over, really, but they're not going after the siege.
timing is just brutal here from Wham. The full melee alongside the siege behind. Who needs a backline when you have so much boosted siege here from Wham? It's just so much siege. 32 population in siege. It's just too much. Panic keep coming up by Scarlet Devil here. They look to hold the push from Wham. Now there is no bombards, no anti-building here from Wham outside of just an immense amount of torches. But I don't think that's really going to be enough to push through this keep brutally. He's going to have to maybe take a step back and look to invest into some bombards to really go through. Or he might just...
Fireworks!
Torches.
Fireworks!
It's just fireworks is all he needs, I think.
It's like the more times that Scarlet hears it, the more likely PTSD is to sink in. Torches coming out now. The defense is to no avail. He doesn't have that great bombard emplacement. Wham! He's got a vice grip on it now. He's not going to let this go. He's not going to give a chance for the Ottomans to get back up to maximum. He's just going to keep the press going.
Keep pause. Doesn't do much to dissuade Wham here in this position. There was Sipahi and Yunis garrison there, but they are now tucking tail and running for their lives as Wham looks to push ever deeper onto Scarlet's side of the map. At the same time, the only source of gold here for Scarlet is now discovered Lancers causing havoc. They will get stopped by the Sipahi, but that's a very easy target for Wham to hit now.
William Shakespeare once said to be or not to be. He clearly never met Chinese in Age of Empires 4 because that question is self-answering here. It's always bees. We still don't see Scarlet with a golden answer, a solution to dive in. The Sipahi aren't delivering that. And now, with 3 minutes left on the clock, a Great Wall Gatehouse to the south, and I imagine probably a keep at this point to the north, options are incredibly limited for Scarlet.
Sacred Side control is still being held firmly here by Wham. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left till that timer spells instantaneous defeat here for Scarlet Devil. And in no position to contest them, he is, as, again, heavily reinvesting into the Sipahi. Do we have biology yet? That is a crucial upgrade here for Scarlet Devil. But again, with the sheer amount of spearmen on the field for Wham, as well as lancers, he's going to need a lot more than just Sipahi to deal with this. Even the spearman raid now.
How is it, like, I don't know how to understand how I'm looking at this and thinking 31 Sipahi's not the answer to this much siege. Like, it shouldn't be, but the spears just aren't being resolved. I mean, the fact that Wham is just building lancers into Janissary, knowing it's going to be Janissary, kind of says everything it needs to right now. And he's got his own bio coming. The biology already came in for Ottomans after the big engagement around the central sacred site. We've also got pyrotechnics, a full hand cannoneer switch, because Wham wants to show Scarlet what good gunners look like.
Indeed, the bombard is on the field now for him as well. Biology coming in for Wham behind this too.
Where's the bombard actually? That's pretty important considering the keep isn't complete. He might have to cancel it. Scarlet, he's not pulling away. He can't afford to. Shift to the north side. Refuses to cancel. This is his staging point. Do or die by this, but it's looking like death. There's the bees from the still forest.
The mass is not there. You just don't have the great bombards enough to actually deal with this amount of siege from Wham. Not often do you see Ottomans being out-sieged, but it's not even close in this case for Scarlet.
It's ridiculous. And look at the Sipahi. It's a traffic jam over here. You couldn't move a car at all if you parked in this area. They're wasting all their time on small mass, and he's getting completely mass annihilated on the left side. Castle down to half HP. A few Sipahi finally do slip in, but they're sniping Springles when he needs those Nester bees dead. Stat follows through, finds a few more. Retreat is going to be forced, but Wham, we're down to a minute on the clock. The decap is underway. Sipahi trying to remove that threat factor, but they could be rushed towards. But Wham right now doesn't see it. The villagers, they come in clutch. They will sacrifice themselves to the win. The spearmen can now move over. The castle is down, and Scarlet Devil is done.
Just like that, GG is called. Wham, after a slog of a game here with China, proves exactly why the civilization is still to be respected and feared near the end of 2025 here. Wham picks up a decisive lead here, as expected really with the Chinese, but it wasn't an easy one. Scarlet Devil himself might be a bit regretful of his decision to allow Chinese through during the snipe phase with the civilizations here. Gonna go back to the drawing board now, but he made it look very, very competitive. Clearly, Scarlet Devil knew what he was doing there, but Wham, just eking through those small leads time and time again, and is able to close it out.
I mean, that was a freaking crazy. I think that actually might be my favorite Ottoman Chinese game I've seen since the expansion. That was I think what blew my mind is the way that Scarlet discarded the 40 Sipahi. That really put us in crazy town. Like, that kind of shows you how polarizing a player he is. I feel like not many people would actually commit the Sipahi the way he did. And the crazy thing is, I've seen him make it work, these type of nutty strategies or approaches to it. It doesn't pay off here, but it shows you that he really can stand up to some of the finest players in Age of Empires 4 and make them sweat a bit, because this game may be a Wham win, but I think he'll agree it was most definitely not easy.
Yeah, I think Wham maybe sweated a little bit more than he expected in that one, right? Considering the matchup, considering the map. But Ottomans has a way of doing that, right? They're a bit of a cockroach civilization, you could call them, without a doubt. But so is China, in all fairness, right? Both of these civilizations just take a really long time to die, KP. And we can see how that matchup goes in this case, right? Where both civilizations are just so good on staying alive. It can lead to some pretty nail-biting back-and-forth games.
Yeah, and, you know, this is going to be an interesting one in my eyes. Like, Sengoku versus Byzantines. Whew. You know, like, it's funny that it looks a little bit like a Malian flag, because it reminds me of that matchup where both get to eat their cake. You know what I mean? Like, neither side rushes the other, so they get to do all their Dark Age things that make them happy on economy. However, Byzantines on this map, I don't know how you've been feeling. I always feel like they're a mixed ball because of the stone. Like, the optimal build with Byzantines is getting tier 5, and as we know on Coastal Cliffs, stone is a little bit more difficult usually to reach.
It's a situation that happens quite often for some civilizations on some maps, which is you are both at a disadvantage and an advantage here as Byzantines. Namely, of course, the stone. You don't have a starting stone on Coastal Cliffs, and as you mentioned, Byzantines greed by default. They want to get to that tier 5 system as soon as possible, which is harder on this map than really any other in Age of Empires 4. But at the same time, the actual layout and design of the map is pretty optimal for the way they like to play. Initially, a very slow, static composition with the Limitane, with the longbows that they can sort of hunker down with and stay defensive. Very easily done on such kind of a map. Then they can look to leverage a bit of cavalry in the form of the Cataphract around those edges here as well, while slowly pushing forward with the main mass of longbows as well as any other supporting units they do have, and expanding their system network even forward towards the center of the map. So a double-edged sword here. I have to see how Scarlet Devil looks to make use of that.
I mean,
But
just watching this fight
Daimyo.
back, like, I was just watching this fight back as you were making very astute points, and it's like, it's crazy when you watch it again, and you just notice just how well Wham suffocated control the fight. He literally had Lancers tanking all Sipahi. They weren't dying at all because the Janis are on the opposite side of the fight. And I think that summarizes what we've seen so far in game number 1, and what we might see in the series. Like, Scarlet Devil's a very talented player. He has some very crafty strategies and timings. I think what Wham has proven to us in just one game is he's much better at controlling the ebb and flow and dictating the path. We saw it like earlier in that game with Sipahi versus Spears and that weird fight that he managed to force out of it. But I think for Scarlet, he needs to decide whether he wants to be the lead in the dance or the lead. And if you're going to be the lead, you know how it is, man. Like, if you want to be the person being spun around like a ballerina, you need to look 10 times more fabulous than the guy doing the spinning. Otherwise, guy in control, like, is the one that gets the tip of the hat. And that's the thing I'm looking for, is, like, can Scarlet bring a Civ that I feel like is slow to begin with dominant in the mid game? Can he actually force Wham to dance to his dance?
It's the Shinobi, isn't it? It's gonna be the Shinobi.
Yeah.
You know, those Shinobi are just absolutely disgusting, KP, as you well know. And frankly, that's kind of the only reason you even play Sengoku. Let's be completely honest nowadays.
Everything
Now,
else is kind of about them. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that it's bad. It's just like, Sake Brew is cool, but unit-wise, like, have you actually used the Bonker Boys and thought they were good yet? I haven't been convinced by...
I have seen a video which does a pretty in-depth analysis on how exactly they work. Essentially, when you crunch down the numbers and really make some testing happen, the only purpose of the Bonk Boys is against elephants and OTD in the Imperial Age. That's kind
And
of
that
it.
explains why he picked Sengoku and then Order the Dragon. See, he only picked Sengoku to protect his dragon pick. Ah, knew it.
There you go. How did we not see it, right? Now, speaking of, you know, I mean, on this map, there's not a single stealth forest on the entire map. So that is a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to taking full advantage of those shinobi from the Koka township. But, you know, since the map is so much thinner, it is quite easy to place a bit of a forward production or buildings for that matter here for Scarlet Devil to employ those shinobi very easily. And I mean, you know, once you spawn them in, it's as if you train them. They don't really run out, really. They can easily run across the entire map.
Well, let's find out. Is it going to be the art of the ninja or the age of the mercenaries as we hop into game number 2? Wham with the Byzantines, Scarlet Devil taking to the Sengoku Daimyo to see if he can take off at the speed of a running Naruto here. Because as we were just highlighting in the pre-game raid, it is all about those ninjas, and you hit it on the head, right? Even if you don't have a stealth forest, they have 100% uptime. They are a ludicrous damage source, and what's interesting is the thought that, you know, if you both rush Castle here, that's not a bad thing. Like, most people are scared of giving that to Byzantines. If you rush Castle Age as Sengoku, with a 50% damage buff, that means your knights are going to get an extra 12 damage in a fight. I don't see the problem here.
It's pretty disgusting, to put it mildly, without a doubt. Especially against smaller hitbox units that like to stack a lot, like those longbows that Wham is, I mean, pretty undoubtedly most likely going to make here as the Byzantines. That is one of the reasons they have become so potent in the current meta. Wham does discover his stone, which is actually his secondary stone. Did he not spot the one at the back? Yeah, oh, it just doesn't know. That's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess... Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. I thought he just hadn't scouted the full corner. He legit just doesn't know. It's going to be a little bit rough to hang out here, but it's not going to be pushed off quickly. Like, that's the thing. Remember, Sengoku don't tend to Dark Age rush. They don't have any upside. The Raxes aren't cheaper. And also, they'd rather put that wood to good work, getting more food, as we can already see the Yatais coming out.
It's true. Bit of an extended Dark Age typically for Sengoku to get up that lead. Very similar, really, in design to the Byzantines. They will go for the assistance. Sengoku will go for the Yatai onto those food sources, get that boosted food income straight away.
And also, like, the placement here, not the craziest of spawn, I'd say, for Scarlet, right? Like, he actually, no, he gets both tree lines. It's not too bad. I was going to say, he misses out on the berries. I don't think the Matsuri reaches either berries. Like, obviously, it doesn't hit the east one. It won't hit the west one. He will be fine on his sheep, just about the placement. But this is going to be an art that people are going to perfect, right? Like, the Matsuri placement is key to success. Like, you have to think of it to the same degree that you do when you place an Arhin with the HRE.
Yeah, exactly right. The positioning, I think, can be quite easy to mess up. You have to be quite careful. Here's the thing, right? We have seen the gold Matsuri become very popular. Just using gold to buy wood necessary to get those Yatai out fast and get yourself a way more optimal age-up timing. But this can be the disadvantage, right? You end up just having a forward Yatai, which if you ever lose control and you end up getting pushed into your third, God forbid you have any plentiful farms under there, suddenly that's half your food income just cancelled out.
No, it's a rough one as well. Like, in general, you don't really have that shifted economy. It feels like you anchor yourself. And, you know, compared to Arkan, it doesn't feel as impactful because it takes time. It's a trigger delay. And the other thing that we often forget is, like, especially on food, Sengoku's a bit of a weird question mark. Like, I think they're good in the early mid-game, but the late game doesn't scale that well when you remember that they're getting a 30% food buff, and that's it. They have literally got no eco-tech to help them there, compared to the OG Civ that gets 75% average.
It's a nice bonus, without a doubt. Though I will say, the Sengoku army, I think, does peak a little bit harder than the Japanese army itself. So they trade a bit of that economic prowess or just a stronger military inherently, once they do have all of their daimyos. Getting to that space is, you know, is not cheap. There's so much investment needed into those daimyo estates. Just like Japanese has to invest a lot into that shogunate castle in order to get that incredible food income that it becomes so known for. But once you reach there, it feels pretty good.
Is he now seeing that for the first time? I think he just spotted. Like, Scarlet sees this stone, but I think Wham just got, wait a second. That was there all along. The classic, you should scout the whole map. Like, was it usually we talk about people with their relics? Like, left side's a good map for that, where it's like, oh, you're playing a relic game. That tiny little piece of the corner you haven't scouted is actually where the relic is.
Exactly right. Wham. Must have given himself. I think I did hear the echo of a little facepalm when he saw that stone there. But of course, not really a big deal, as we mentioned earlier here, right? He's going to be able to get the stone he needs. A tiny bit of extra unnecessary walking time, but not something you'll really feel biting you back just yet. Oka now finishes for Scarlet Devil. I would expect those Shinobi to be summoned pretty much instantly and start moving across the map. There's really just no disadvantage to doing so. It's not like there's any early military threat from Wham they have to worry about. Speaking of, though, the actual stable is prioritized here for him. So Wham is actually going to look to take the aggressive lead here to try to disturb those Yatai. I do always wonder, right, if you just ignore the Yatai and you ignore the Sistans, who really comes out ahead economically here between these two civilizations? That's not going to be the case in this game so far, as Wham looks to contest. The Shinobi now hit the field, they start moving across, and they're going to reach no problem at all, despite their timer. And the double stable, quite a classic opener here for Sengoku. The Yari Cavalry is quickly becoming one of the best cavalry units in the game.
It's a polarizing one, though, right? Like, I feel like often when I watch it, the problem is getting them online. It feels like your economy is a little bit slow to get it up to scratch. And honestly, I think the reason why most players get there is this unit here. It's genuinely the Shinobi that kind of pads that weakness, which is why I don't think we've had a single Ryokan game in competitive in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's true. The Shinobi are the great enablers so far for Sengoku. They do get changed when the next patch hits. If that does happen to be the case, then they might find themselves struggling a little bit until players figure out how to adapt, but Scarlet Devil looking to employ those Yari Cavalry here. Like you mentioned, you really need, especially against cavalry, in cavalry on cavalry fights. Naturally, they have the +2 damage against cavalry inherently, but you really want that extra +2 from the Daimyo estate level 2 to start feeling a big difference.
So expensive. It's so expensive.
Very expensive,
right?
yeah.
Like, I almost feel as if the tier 1 and tier 2 tech should be switched, but if we'd done that, every single game would just be Yari Cavalry.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it would be too effective. The interesting thing, though, is like this is the ideal comp which Scarlet's getting into. Like, you open Yari, it forces Spearman, and that's when we always see Yumi look great. Like, Yumi really do need the Spearman on the field to feel like a true DPS target. And then you've got longbows as a response from Wham. Like, it's not the wrong choice, it's just, like, against this comp, there isn't any golden choice, if that makes sense. It almost feels like it's a bit of a filler, because the alternatives aren't great here either.
And it gets to this point, I think, a part of an understated advantage of Sengoku in this matchup in particular, from the few times that I have seen it and played it, is this extra food that you get from the Yatai and that earlier boosted gather rate on the Matsuri or Sengoku compared to Japanese, as well as just the stronger military once those daimyo estates do come in, results in a military mass that Byzantines can find themselves struggling with more than they would normally do against something like Japanese, as the skirmishes begin already. Pride Comp is soon to be online here for Wham once those longbows hit the field, but the mass already heavily favors Scarlet Devil.
I really like the idea of just actually Wham focusing on taking out the Shinobi, the longbows at the start of the fight. I think if they stand, that's where this is all going to fall flat, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the empowerment they give the Yari. The Yari will be everything if the grenades connect. And as you said, like, the tricky part that most players run into is, as these armies get bigger, as we play a longer feudal, they're always going to connect. It becomes impossible to dodge every hand grenade.
Exactly right. And even if you do snipe out those Shinobi, right? Yeah, you remove the threat, but 4 full volleys, 1 per Shinobi to take them out. You have to focus fire them. You know, that's a lot of damage used just purely on you not instantly losing the fight to them. It's a big, big investment in damage to make just to take them down to hopefully be on even ground, which by the time you kill them, technically you're already behind in the fight because you wasted so much damage just on killing them. So really, it is quite a difficult thing to deal with for Byzantines here. Especially when you have forward berries like Wham does here, secondary one. He does have another quite a safe tucked one away in that corner towards the water. He can throw up a wall alongside that line to make it easier, but with the Yari Cavalry, they're in position. Suddenly Wham, as soon as he fortifies this position, it's already being challenged, and it looks like he's absolutely in no position to contest this whatsoever.
Yeah, no, he's got the daimyo there. Absolutely cannot contest this. Like, that attack speed buffer affects the Yari most. And the grenade!
Shinobi!
It connects perfectly, and now you can just die past. The spearmen get baited out of position. Villagers get sniped. Longbows get chased away. And Scarlet is building a bloody beautiful lead already. And the new longbows! The worst possible time and the worst possible position to come out in.
Absolute disaster here for Wham. Strikes in game number 2. As soon as he finds himself in the position to take those berries, Scarlet Devil denies him without any sort of hesitation as the Yari cavalry torch the tower, take out the villagers quick time. The longbow count is completely reset to null. Wham is going to clean up the stragglers of Scarlet Devil's army as he extends there. Scarlet Devil lost a lot of units, but immense value gained. Definitely worth it here for him, as Wham is just looking anemic now, both in economy and military.
Goes to the berries, gets kicked in the berries is what it feels like there. And, you know, the only reason it started to look good at the end is A, defender's advantage, and B, where are the ninjas? Like, maybe they're just very good ninjas, but I don't see them anymore. We'll see them again soon, and that's what Wham has to be worried about. I mean, one thing I want to say I like about how toxically powerful the Shinobi are, it does punish people that formation shuffle. You notice that? Like, you can't easily sneak your people out. You actually get punished for it, which I'm still a big believer that needs to be removed. But that's why that all snowballed into bad, right? Like, if Wham gets those villagers away and they take a little trickle of damage and there's no main slow, he just forfeits the area, right? You just walk all your troops back underneath the TC, you wait for the horseman to come home, take a good fight. Instead, it forces a bad engagement. And, you know, for anyone who's wondering why that movement speed is so hindering, it's also the fact that when you move units in a formation, they move at the slowest moving unit speed. So, let's say we get a big force of horsemen and everything else coming from Wham. But if I grenade a Limitane and you're in formation, all your horsemen are now moving at like 1 movement speed. It's horrible.
And oh, would you look at that, KP? They're back
they're
again.
Back.
Like the most annoying cough after autumn flu. It just never goes away.
Just like the loving flu that my son will give me this week, it was free. That's right, these Shinobi, the low price of nothing. He hard commits into Horseman Spear. A bit ambitious from Scarlet. He hasn't found any additional worker kills. I mean, he'll be able to break this. I don't think he's going to have much left over. This is double tower.
A bit of a messy fight here, right? The double tower, the arrow slits coming in as well. We don't even have steeled arrow, actually, from Wham, so those towers are not doing as much damage as they could. Scarlet Devil, you know, he loses a bit more than maybe he should there, but again, I'd argue it's worth it. I mean, just look at the military. Again, the longbow count is reset. The horseman count is reset, as well as the Limitane are back to 0. Only 2 now on the field already after some have been produced. And this is fine for Scarlet. I mean, the fruit tells it all, right? As long as the Yatai on the field, I'm pretty sure we have 4 by now, right? These Yatai are just gonna keep endlessly giving food, providing that gather rate. Scarlet is just getting further and further ahead. Even if the trades are not perfect, he's gonna be more than fine with it. And now, the nail in the coffin, right? The ball. The food is about to skyrocket. And he can really do whatever he likes. He can either look to reinvest into even more Yari, even more Yumi, or look to leverage into the castle timing, which Wham just has no real hope of matching in this position.
Yari are going to be annoying again. Doesn't get any committed dive, though, like the Yumi, etc. holding back for now. He's just prepping. I think he's seeing if he can actually bait Wham to come out, like, over here, you know, chase to the bone. But he's not nibbling, so Scarlet instead is going to make it a full transition. Now, keep in mind, he's still strong if he gets contested at this point, not just because of the raw size, but he already got double estate. So he's got the Oda, which means he's gone for Hirokuji, I believe it's called, which is going to give you the +1 on your Yumi. And then, of course, he's always got that movement speed on the Yari, which is... Wait, did they actually get up? I feel like they haven't been moving that fast. Can we check the movement speed on the Yari? Because I'd be surprised if he didn't get it, considering it's probably the best estate ability. Yeah, he's got it. 2.06 for reasons. I can't give you a good reason why we gave this unit 2.06 movement speed.
That's just, you know, Azuli, the fastest cavalry in the entire game in the feudal age. There's not much to worry about, really, right? I mean, you know, we thought the Jushi Yuan Raiders are impressive in that Imperial Age with their 2.0. I mean, yeah, who needs those when you have these guys in feudal? And the stats are way more impressive when it comes to fights as well.
What is this Sake Brewery placement? Scarlet? A little bit unusual, but, I mean, he still won the best landmarks or whatever. Didn't place it near the Matsuri.
Yeah, maybe looking to hide information here, right?
Yeah.
Might be a bit wary of a little horseman raid or a scout in position from Wham just discovering that it's happening. And that will give Wham the sort of space needed and the information needed to have a quick cast stage turnaround time, which, you know, you can see Wham still sort of doing his best despite being so behind. He's not really that far behind when it comes to that cast stage. I think he's still, you know, very close to death here, frankly, when these upgrades start coming in, but still has done a great job despite how far behind he is to actually have a fighting chance here, but Scarlet Devil has just been putting on the hurt relentlessly.
So now he's just biding his time, waiting for those veterancy to come from both Yuumi as well as the Yari, and, well, we're going to make sure we've got enough daimyos in there. Always the classic one that people skip on, even at the pro level. It's so easy to forget to reproduce daimyos. It's so annoying because you have to click on the estates to do it.
And for some unknown reason, they count as barracks. If you use the select all barracks, it just selects the daimyos as well. So, you know, that's one of the reasons it feels so annoying to even produce spearmen with this civilization, because the hotkey for spearmen is suddenly... Oh,
he got clipped on the longbows there. He didn't want to fight his force yet. And the grenades, he could clip onto the villages. This would be huge.
Oh no.
Starts to hit in. The panic sets in. The Golden Horn Tower. Just commit at this stage. Do or die. It's going to be death by the looks of it. Yuumi just finished off the few Limitani holding the choke point. A flood around the sides of the cavalry. He's fully surrounded. There's nowhere to go. He has to stand his ground here. Tech up completes. But there won't be many left to take advantage of it. The horde is thinning. But the damage is done. We're up to 60 worker kills. He's doubled the lead off of this dive.
Look how they massacred my boy, KP. His Byzantines looks to be absolutely repressed in this game number 2 here. I bet Wham wishes that was a Macedonian Golden Horn Tower at this point in time so he can garrison and mow down everything Scarlet Devil has, but that is not the case. Wrong dynasty, wrong Byzantines. Wham, the farmlands are now on the thread. The few groves that he was able to muster are now completely idle, and these Yari cavalry can sit there for days. A lone hero Cataphract is going to look to make an effort here on the defense, but the extra damage with the Daimyo is not long for this world. And the Mounted Samurai are now coming. It's
pretty
no
close.
hope left for Wham.
Yeah,
in
this is
game
less
number 2.
Byzantines, more Byzantines, Myriad. Like, it's not the fighting power that we've seen out of them. Like, I think part of it is their predictable timing, but also Scarlet just showing you what happens when you let Sengoku be the sleeping dragon. When they wake up, they're still going to pillage the village. And this early game, I think that's the key, man. Like, you know, we see it with Byzantines Malians, and it kind of goes back and forth because they both have timings and they use the eco well. I think Sengoku just does such a good job with the ninja at their back of exploiting the fact that you let them greed.
What hope does Wham have left in this game number 2? He hasn't yet tapped out. It's clearly, you know, I mean, you know, obviously every game counts. You're not gonna just give up easily. He's probably already thinking of the next game here, and is just fighting for scraps at this point in time. But the pressure is not going to relieve whatsoever for Scarlet here. There's no reason not to. Relics now starting to be gathered by it as well, as the first monk is in queue, and yeah. We don't even get to see the lost screen. We know what's gonna happen.
You know what? The victory screen went as quick as those Mounted Samurai. Why does that unit move at almost as quick as Horsemen? I don't know. I'm not on the design team. My dad isn't Bill Gates. I can't provide you the answers, but it's a thing. And Sengoku is the thing that will get Scarlet on the board, able to slay Byzantines, which is seen as a desirable, I'd say, second pick in your draft, if not first for some players.
And Wham clearly wanted to really fight for this game, right? I mean, you pick Byzantines, you want to win. You pick Byzantines to win, without a doubt. And, you know, he didn't snipe out Sengoku. We don't know, unfortunately, what the other civilization picked for Scarlet Devil was as an option for this game. But Wham, you know, allowed this to happen. So clearly he had some sort of plan, at least. He might not know exactly how the matchup goes, potentially, though I'm sure he has played it. Part of it is the map as well, as we discussed. It's just difficult having that stone, that little idle time. Even though he was able to get up the necessary system count, you know, the extra walking time, the extra setup time, the shorter crossing distance on this map is also an understated perk in favor of Sengoku here for Scarlet Devil. Means that he's just able to put up this mounting relentless aggression that just hits at the perfect time here. And this is when the game really swung in his favor.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Look what we've got coming up next. Order of the Dragon versus Tulac.
You know, this is the second time I see Order of the Dragon on Kawasan in this tournament so far. Last time was in the qualifiers. It was Scarlet Devil playing it as well up against Scatterbrained. Did lose that game against HRE from Scatterbrained, but now he's going to look to rely on them yet again. Not typically a civilization you see as a favorite pick on Kawasan, right? I mean, they're not a terrible hybrid civilization, right? Good Spearman of the Dark Age is always nice. Of course, fantastic eco underneath the Archon Chapel, very similar to HRE. But Tulac, they have some bonuses that I think people don't really expect when it comes to these hybrid maps.
No, they're an interesting force actually. Like Tulac, the thing that kind of gets slept on with this Civ that's pretty wild is the fact that elephant economics is not requiring of the worker elephant. If you drop off resources at a TC, you get more resources. And that works for docks as well. So like at the start of the game, fishing economy wise, Tulac are already going to get 5% extra on drop off. That of course can scale to 10% in H2. We don't really see Woven Baskets rush to too many players, but start to sneak in. And even before that, like you can't Dark Age rush them, right? Like if you do, the fishing boats are going to shoot you. Not a good deal.
It's not a good deal. I mean, especially in the past, Delhi has had some presence on Kawasan before, right? Specifically of those shooting fishing ships, right? The feudal prowess, the prelates, the scholars, excuse me. The sacred sites can be in prime contestable position as well. Tulac, of course, being the variant, carries over a lot of those bonuses, like you mentioned. The shooting ships, the extra food on those berries, and an even more efficient economy early on, courtesy of those worker elephants. Plenty of bonuses here for Tulac, and they have been looking very scary. But especially KP, once those healer elephant imams comes out, I mean, it's a battering ram that fights and heals. And when there's docks to be contested, they love doing that.
Do you know what the best part is? It's like becoming a meme when I cast. I keep calling them war elephants. And I think people just think I'm doing it like, you know, haha, very funny, Cape. No, it legit in my brain, I'm just like, that's a war elephant. Alright, that thing was bred for war. It has 450 HP. It heals. It does 15 base damage. It heals on the move? Like, why does it heal on the move? Like, why do we actually can we just agree that units that heal on the move are kind of ridiculous? Like, heal other units. The other shoes are being complained about for this reason. Now we've got healer elephants taking it to a big extreme. At least Ottoman AoE healer monks aren't bulletproof monks. Like, come on. Oh, when will we learn?
It's not enough that they move. It's not enough that they do damage to units, or that they deal great damage to buildings. For some reason, they have to be virtually unkillable as well. And that's Tulac right now with the healer elephants, and Wan is going to look to take full advantage here in game number 3. I'm very excited to see how Scarlet Devil looks to respond to that. Now, in theory, you know, one of the big problems when it comes to the healer elephants is the fact that even if you make Spearmen against them, it's quite difficult to get the full surround needed to get maximal value out of those Spearmen when it comes to pathing. However, OTD Spearmen, of course, essentially 2 in the body of 1, they have a way easier time getting on top and finding that sticking power to deal that massive damage, so shouldn't be too bad in theory.
In theory. We'll see if in practice, though. I mean, Tulac is a beast to overcome. Wham, of course, looking to break the tie between the two with this. Scarlet, you mentioned, the Order Dragon, not the first time we're seeing it on this map, but like to the point of, you know, you have higher damage. My concern there is like, if you don't have enough to one-hit eliminate, then I can play around that more easily because you've condensed your damage into 1 or 2 attacks, right? So like the idea is I can, with good micro, pull away the threatened party, I'd say easier, knowing that I'm going to have healing behind it. That's always my concern. It's the same reason why sometimes like Order the Dragon, yeah, just move that down, thank you. My lines are a little bit misassociated. The thing with like Order the Dragon is the classic, like when they're against French, sometimes the spears don't feel great because they can kill units really quick. But let's say you've got 1 spear, I've got 2 knights. Well, great. Now you and the knight is stunned, but the other one's going to club you in the face. It's like a very weird dynamic compared to any other Civ in Age of Empires 4.
It's very unique for sure, and leads to some really interesting interactions that are always exciting to see. Scarlet, gonna look to just contest the dock directly, actually. Not gonna bother with Spearman. Makes sense, of course. Those arrows from the fishing ships for the Tulac can be pretty annoying to deal with if you try to torch the dock. And in theory, Wham could just pull his fishing ships right now and start shooting Scarlet Devils, but you kind of want to wait for a decent little mass before doing so. That's sort of 3, 4, maybe 5 to start really putting on the hurt onto those fishing ships. I wonder if that's actually worth it, though. Stopping your own fishing to stop the opponents? I'm not so sure.
No, like if you remember a long time ago, we had this with Delhi, where like people thought Delhi was unbeatable in water, and the solution was to just not overinvest in fishing and don't react to it. But players have got better at optimizing, where like if they can set up a dock near your dock, they can shoot you, then gather, then shoot you, then gather. And the whole idea is like it's more micro-intensive, but you essentially do the gathering between your attack intervals, so it's not terrible. So yeah, it's always a weird choice to make. This has been interesting though. Like with Tulac, I feel like they're already encouraged to go spearman because of the healer elephant follow-up. So remember, if I build a bulk of spearman, it means my healer elephant is now more of a war elephant because it buffs his damage.
Yeah, it's very true. The healer elephants, with a nice infantry composition of archers and spearmen, can put in an immense amount of work against a lot of civilizations. Very slow composition, but incredibly robust. Wham's gonna look to take advantage of that early and put on the pressure. He knows he can't be contested by these fishing ships, of course. Scarlet Devils do not shoot, and the turnaround time to the edge of a Scarlet Devil is costly. So he's gonna start to torch that dock straight away. It's 2 spearmen, 3 now in queue for Wham. Now Scarlet is racing towards that food lane. He's gonna be up ahead of Wham, of course, way earlier because of this spearman investment. But will it be fast enough to get a ship out? I'm not so sure.
Helpful? I don't know, man. Like Arkham with 5 is pretty fast with the dragon. I feel like your concern here is you're gonna have to pull a villager to fix it. Because it's definitely gonna be set on fire in time. Like looking at the pacing, I don't think it's gonna exist by the time you're aged.
No. Yeah, it's not happening. I don't even think it's gonna survive till the age up finishes. Never mind even able to queue up a ship there. And this is where it gets really tricky, right? You try to sneak a dock. Do you go a dock on the other pond to try to be ahead there and risk losing an OTD villager for that? I mean, that would already be absolutely crippling damage. It's a tough spot to be in already here for Scarlet Devil. Because there's so many possible responses, and none of them feel great.
What is Wham up to in the set? Is he building a mining camp on... No, wait, you don't build mining camps. What does he build near the stone? Was that the racks? It was, right? Yeah, so like he's just already here. It just makes it so hard with that detail. Like, even if you try to contest infantry and infantry, it's already up in your face. It's never going to work. So yeah, he'll get the drop-off. Now things feel worse. Because, like, what's your opening play here in your brain now, Myriad? It's probably going to be to build archers, no?
Yeah.
So, if you do that, I've got a fun new horseman unit as the good flag. And it's a little bit bonkers, actually. The Raider Elephants have been, I think, shocking a lot of people. This might be an interesting matchup to see if they can overperform in, though. Because technically, I think Raider Elephants look best against Blob because of the trample ability.
It's the trample, right? It's the trample that I think has the potential to push them to shine beyond normal horsemen for that matter. Otherwise, they're, you know, a slightly stat-boosted horseman that you pay a premium for with less move speed. It's, you know, it's fine, but it's not really anything to write home about. But it really comes to that stampede, the skill expression around it, that enables them to really push beyond the edge. The Scarlet Devil finding himself without a doubt heavily on the back foot here. You have 4 fishing ships that are virtually completely useless now. I doubt they even paid for themselves in terms of food gathered, never mind the actual dock you investment into, and yep, there we go.
This is like where you definitely attack them, right? Because now there's no healing from a dock to waste your time. It's just going to be a clean kill.
It's the same sort of situation on Golden Heights, right? Like, when the water is so directly contested by both sides, and the distance is so short to the point where, you know, you can shoot fish. This is when this bonus is so potent for the Tulac and Delhi as well, and you can get maximal value. And I mean, Scarlet Devil is just incredibly behind by default here. And I look to try to press up this dock on the secondary pond. He does have one archer and 1 spearman in position. Beefy boys indeed. They're worth 2 each for the Order of the Dragon.
Whoa. Wow. Okay, how much is this heal elephant?
Well, that's probably worth 10, right?
It's a one-man army right there.
Exactly.
That's like that's old Modern Warfare 2 noob tube one-man army levels of one-man army. Like these This is just awkward, man. Like, I've seen people theorycraft archers as a solution to heal elephants, and I get it. You need so many archers.
I think it's copium, honestly.
Yeah, like especially with all the dragon, like you don't want to be building that many archers. It just feels bad because you're just overexposed at that stage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're so reliant on that +1. You need to have spearmen anyway to stop their advance. It just doesn't feel good.
Basically, need castle. I feel like whenever people try to say archers will solve it, it's like you're going castle. But like Tulac players have started to switch onto that, so they're either prepping master raider elephants to deal with your archer pool, or they'll just mirror castle and then go knights.
Yeah. In fairness, though, a bit of discipline has to be exercised, I think, when playing Tulac, and you do go for those healer elephants because, you know, you feel really confident after you get one healer elephant, but it can be a bit of a trap, especially if you get caught out of position, because, I mean, these guys have 1 tile of movement speed a second. If you're out of position and the healer elephant dies, you feel pretty horrific about it, and rightfully so. It's really 2 healer elephants is when you can start making things happen, because, of course, then they can start healing each other, right? That is when you can actually start taking these skirmishes quite effectively. And the second one is now on the way here for Wham. The Scarlet Devil, actually, he did a great job in that turnaround time to get that second dock up. Already has tri-ship up, as well as fishing ship production going on. So, although he is behind in tempo when it comes to economy, of course, Wham having been fishing for a while, and even set Scarlet Devil behind with those fishing ships that he destroyed, Scarlet Devil at least has secured himself a pond.
He's just rushing castle. Yeah, so Wham just going for the third age here, probably House of Learning.
Yeah.
And like this has a really strong timing, by the way. Like one of the things that I think gets slept on when discussing what's good about Tulac, because it was so focused on heal elephants, they are a subtly ridiculous castle switching civ because of the fact that veterancy, they are the fastest civ in the game to get it. No other civ is quicker than them at getting veterancies and elite techs in on their units.
And there's a really potent timing to be found as well with Wham's Tulac here. If you go for the House of Learning, the Kanda training for the men-at-arms in combination with those healer elephants, it turns it into such a strong timing push if you just spam them out. Not only will they not die because of the healer elephants, but they can so easily catch up to villages as well. One of the big disadvantages of the men-at-arms, that mobility, that ability to catch up is... Well, never mind. Ignore everything I said, guys. Don't worry about it.
Alright, like this is where I get to just look like I knew it was coming along. I was rolling my eyes legit when you talk about House of Learning. I actually think when the dust settles, when a certain elephant gets nerfed, this landmark will be where a lot of people start to gravitate.
It's a scaling factor, right?
Yeah. Well, the problem is like when you look at House of Learning, I think we just default convinced ourselves it's good because the Delhi one is really good. But when you think about it on average, how many techs do you actually get out of that thing in a game? Maybe 1? I feel like most players on average get 1 max and they're done.
Yeah. I'd say it's not quite as good yet until we figure out all the interactions. It's not as good as Delhi's House of Learning. Right?
Definitely. It's like, and Delhi's is free, that's the other thing, right? Whereas you're not paying an insane amount, but you have to pay for them. I think some of them are kind of redundant, like the chivalry for elephants, like it doesn't feel that great.
Yeah.
Because your units are so tanky, so it's not that big a difference. And then you've got Mahoots is always great. The bonus damage for elephants seems to be very situational, the collateral. And that then leaves you with the one you were just talking about, and then Neza training. I think Neza training might be the valuable one, but it only feels valuable later on in the game, deep in the game. Because it gives bonus damage against cav on percentage and increases production. Whereas Compound Defender, the only critical weakness I would give it is that it doesn't discount upgrading your force.
Yeah, it's true. It comes down really to what sort of governor combination or priority really allows you to shine here as Tulac, depending on the map, depending on the matchup in question, right? Because you have so many options when it comes to those governors. And in isolation, not a single one of them feels really like it gives you an immense advantage, right? I mean, what do we think of really? We have the villager production, sure, that's fine in the long run. We have the food, again, that's nice in the long run. We have the extra gold from relics and sacred sites, again, that takes a while to really come online. Besides that, there's nothing that really gives you an instant bonus, and I mean, it might, when push comes to shove, it might turn out that Tulac is just a really good booming civilization, but oftentimes, especially when you're not fully comfortable with a new civilization and you don't know them in and out like you know the old ones, booming is generally something that is not as favorable of a strategy to go for.
It's the safe strat, right? It's like, well, I figure out what's really good as well, too. And, oh, look, you almost killed me. Anyway, let it begin. Archers in.
Close yet so far.
He does not have Wheelbarrow, by the way. And Scarlet, keep running. That's enough archers to one-hit kill. Staying in for the engagement. There's a poke at the backside. Now, there's our Gilded Crossbowmen. And technically, a heal elephant is a heavy unit. So it will hurt if they get shot. Apparently, currently not enough. It doesn't hurt enough.
And 2 is all you need here for Wham. There's 2 hero elephants and he can just dive with impunity here. The men-at-arms are going to put a little stopper to that, but
hold on.
They just don't do the damage needed, right?
Yeah, they're just getting ignored. Look at the raider elephants. They just, okay, headbutt the back line. Let's actually get rid of the thing that's going to kill the heal elephants. Archers turn for the Gilded Crossbowmen. This is an all too familiar sight to everyone watching at home that plays the game. Welcome to pub-style Tulac. They're in your base. They will not leave. They have got a parking permit for the rest of the year.
The ultimate lesson in A-moving with absolute skill here from Wham. As he goes directly into Scarlet's base and, well, it's finally going to start being pushed back here. A lot of Arrowfire tank there, right? But the elephants aren't going down. That's the main thing. The hero elephants are still there to stand. Oh, yeah.
Like, he lost several workers in that dive, right? Like, and now it's like, okay, golf claps. I'm just going to shift away. Interesting choice of Wham going into Lancers. I like the crossbows. He needs to be getting a little bit respectful of the crossbowmen that Order the Dragon are going for, but... Like, calm down, heal elephants. We do have our limitations here. And wait, hold on a second. Well, these guys were just lurking. A little bit of confusion on both sides. Yeah, he will get back to work finally. Oh no. Please don't try to kill the elephant. Guys, do not feed the elephants. Okay? They have a specific diet. And human protein will mess it up.
I do understand the sort of zealotry here from Wham with this push, right? The thing is, as you mentioned, those gilded crossbows from OTD, one of the scariest units in the game as well, I would say. When it reaches a pretty critical mass, that's something that I think Tulac might really struggle to deal with because of their reliance on these elephants. So Wham definitely understands this and wants to put a stop to that in its crib. And he's doing a great job of doing so.
He hasn't killed a single one of those heal elephants, by the way. He's been trying this whole time.
Yep.
Like, I've literally just been watching the pop bar. It has not moved. It's been free this entire time. And Lancers now are going to be the answer. Like, you know, he needs crossbowmen hit start. You just, he's like, I've almost done it. I can almost taste the kill on the night. Just pull him away. Like, Wham, you can literally just walk him away right now.
He's not dying. Oh my god, finally it goes down.
And so does
See,
he.
that's all he wanted. That's all he wanted. He got, you know, in his mind, it's a Pyrrhic victory. We got the Lancer. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
I feel like what was... I wouldn't be surprised if he typed to Scarlet, like, look, please, if you don't move the Lancer back, I will call GG after he's dead. He's like, okay. Because he could have at any point just moved it back 2 steps to crush Wham's soul.
It is mental damage at that point, right? Just making that Lancer stand there against 5 men-at-arms, being, you know, cuddled by 3 elephants behind it, as prayers are being shouted at him from imams on top of those elephants. I mean, yeah.
You know what it is? It's just like, it's an awe-inspiring boss. You're like, I think I'm dying. You're not dying! Oh, okay, I guess I'm fine. You know, like, basically both your limbs have fallen off on both sides. Like, the arms, legs all gone. I don't feel like I can fight anymore. You've got this! Okay, I just believe. Either that, or we're just going to admit that we're actually secretly Call of Duty, and, like, what's happening there is he's getting, like, you know, the tango splashed on his screen, and then he's regenning. That's what's happening. Like, it's ridiculous. Oh, God.
Chug the Estus.
It's a little bit ridiculous, right? Like, I mean, it's not even Estus. Estus has run out. That's the other thing, Murad.
This
right?
doesn't run out.
It's unlimited Estises. All right, you're that person's like, I've beaten Eldens. I'm so good at the game. And then we find out you had an unlimited mod on for your flasks. I'm not impressed anymore. I'm sorry, Wab. I'm not impressed. Everyone does it, and he knows. Like, he'll know his head and accept it as well. Like, yeah, it's competitive. You take the advantages, but this comp is so infuriating to try and stop.
Infuriating is the word that comes to mind. And massive shout out to Johan Bach. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. We are very appreciative here at EGC. Allows us to keep putting on these tournaments, show the level of competition in AAV4, and bring you guys the entertainment that we all deserve and need so much. Thank you very much. Go a long way for us because
I tell you,
here
like
for game number 4.
elephant feed is not cheap. Okay, so it goes a long way to continuously feeding the elephants to keep them cyclical in the meta. We appreciate it. So, speaking of elephants, Scarlet wants revenge because I believe
can do
that's
it too.
yes. You want a 5-game series? You want to go there? I'll do it as well. Whereas Worm has gone for a Civ, which has kind of lost a kick in its step. I legit had a game in the weeklies where Wham GG to 8 minutes as Roos. And I went, what happened? He was like, they just over-nerfed Civ. So his opinion is they are definitely crippling Roos correctly. Well, I'm just going to be the one to say it to all you Roos mains out there. You kind of deserve it. You've had a good run. You've, like, you know, it's like, you know, it's like being like a Chelsea fan in the early 2000s. Like, oh, wow, well done, so impressive. And then they hit the bad stint, and you're like, oh, it sucks. You won enough years in a row, okay? It's time that someone else was more toxic and powerful.
It's about time. It's about time. Too many horse archers, too much passive gold, and now they have been punished. I mean, when was the last time before this that Roos has really found himself struggling, right? It's been a minimum of 2 years, I want to say, right? Something like that, at least. I mean, even before the Pro Scouts, we had 2TC, which was really dominant even then, and yeah. And I mean, this matchup I find really exciting because even back during Roos's peak a little while ago, during Pro Scouts, Delhi has looked quite good up against him, right? It's been a hotly debated matchup. I was under the impression that Roos even then was a little bit favored. I sort of changed my mind slowly near the end. So now that should be even more favored towards Delhi nowadays. So Scarlet Devil, in theory, looking in a great position to actually equalize this set and bring it to that much needed game number 5 for him.
Let's see if he can do it. We hop into game number 4. Dry Arabia. Scarlet Devil has tasted the elephant, and now he shall become the elephant. Almost like a vampire infection happening here. As Wham is trying to resurrect what has started to look like a bit of a Dev Civ. A Dev Civ rather, as Roos comes out to try and close it in 4 games for him.
We see standard opening here for Wham, the double cabin, the tried and true. We're going to have the secondary scout coming out very shortly, as soon as one of those cabins finish. And see, that's another thing with Roos, right? I think an understated advantage that they had even previously is that you can always assume that they'll kind of at least get at least a couple of extra sheep. Probably 3, probably 4, right? And that's always really nice, especially for a castle rushing Civ like they often are. Probably not in this matchup, not typically at least, but you know, they're still gonna have that little bonus going for them.
It's so much more than that, right? It's the vision, actually. Roos was toxic for a long time because we exist in a game where information is key and information is king, and no Civ could get information so easily as Roos. And that's why, like, you know, you very rarely see people try experimental strats that are like a little bit cheesy or like proxy bases or whatever against Roos, because they knew straight away. Like, you know, you go to TC, they know straight away. Like, no other Civ has that dominance of vision, and that's where the hunting cabin has always been clutch. Like, anyone else that would want to mirror that at this stage of the game would sacrifice 10% of their economy.
Seems now. Oh yeah, no, it's just fine. Not too many shenanigans going on here. It's going to be very standard here. Both of the civilizations have really gotten their builds down. We haven't seen much pivot from it recently.
Look at the
Curious
deal
to see where the
locations, by
Scarlet
way.
Devil goes for that second mill when Siege is up, you know? You get the double ticks.
I kind of like
Yeah,
the
this
idea.
is...
Yeah, like if you could actually just shift out here with an outpost or 2, I kind of like prefer that than waiting the pro scouts. Like if Wham ham-fists full pro scouts, like you're probably gonna get denied there. But it's always a tricky choice for Delhi because the berries are such a great gathering rate anyway. You usually just shrug the deer and think it's secondary. On the other side, Wham, not as fortunate. Both deer spawning forward, which is going to be awkward against Ghazi. I wonder if he's going to be forced just straight up into Spearman. I feel like nowadays most Roost players are being forced into Spearman by default.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you go for that Pro Scouts as Rus, you know, you can't really match the Ghazi numbers early with Knights at the same time as producing Scouts to pick up the deer. You just can't really. You have to go for that Barracks, the cheaper option and the harder counter initially. And you're not French. Your Knights do not heal. You don't have that school of cavalry straight away. So you probably have to invest at least a little bit into Spearman early to be able to get the deer and fight. Unless you just skip Pro Scouts entirely. But at that point, you're just playing budget French, let's be honest. If you just skip Pro Scouts and you look to fight full feudal with classic Knight Archer, you're essentially playing slightly better eco initially French, which just gets just becomes worse French within minutes shortly after.
Yeah, it's like in theory there's a time where you should feel better than the French because their gold will run out and you'll still have infinite gold, but like it never really reaches that point in feudal. Roos has always been weird for that. Like, Knights definitely valuable, but usually it's because you're looking to raid, not because you're looking to directly fight. Like, I like Knights as a way of evolving it into a raiding game instead of a direct fight game. But that's very tricky against Ghazi specifically. Like, they are faster than you, they have bonus against you, they'll always outnumber you. But it definitely feels like you have to do something. Like, when you're playing against Delhi, you don't want to give them the map. Sacred Size equal win in feudal or master castles.
Little harassment coming in here on the mining camp. One of the perks of having so many scouts here for Roos. You can always put on a little bit of pressure. It's not going to do too much. But it's always annoying. Just the attack thing. That constant buzz in your ear. Yeah, it adds up.
And then you know what it is. It's the emotional trauma as well. You know where they're going to go when they stop harassing your gold mate. They're going to take your deer. They're going to snatch it away.
Lumber camp now coming up here for Wham, the wood line. Soon enough, Wooden Fortress will likely be next, but he might go for that barracks first beforehand. Quite greedy to go for the fortress straight away without production buildings when you know you're going to look to prioritize these there. I'm quite curious to see how Wham decides to play this. Is it going to be that full feudal committal after those pro scouts that I think is kind of your only option really here as Roos? Or do we see a greed into Castle Age? In theory, just making a few spearmen and using your scouts and the spearmen to, you know, delay those sites and annoy Delhi a little bit might give you the space needed to go for a Castle Age without falling too far behind. But I don't think you can ever really stop the triple cap from happening. And once those 3 sites are captured, Delhi gets out of control very quickly.
Yeah, it just becomes a back and forth tug and pull. But if they always maintain at least 2, which, like, unless you're trying to go Knights, and we already said, well, that's bad, go Spearman instead. And Spearman can shift site to site one by one. But the other thing for Delhi is with how cheap their scholars are, if they at least get the capture on the sacred site, it was worth pulling a scholar for, even if that scholar then gets eliminated. That's the infuriation of Dome of Faith, I think, that a lot of people have just begun to roll their eyes at. It just feels like a default. And it's hilarious. We got Tulac introduced to the game. We're like, wow, we're going to get some like deviation, different landmark. No, Dome of Faith for them too. It is just by far the goated landmark of the Indian Civs.
It is going to be that Spearman choice here for Wham. Archer range followed by Scarlet Devil upon seeing it. Quick time. Now a third one in queue for him. Survival techniques, of course. Oh, charge cancel. Nicely done there by Scarlet Devil. He's going to pick up a free Spearman there. That's the danger here when you're delay yourself with the pro scouts. Of course, it's great to get that dare in, but you have to be very careful, even with Spearman up against cavalry early on against a pump civilization like Delhi. One Spearman out of position means suddenly you're a spear down, and that snowballs really fast against the Ghazi.
Oh, here come the not French Knights. Mum, did you keep the receipt? Can I get something different for Christmas? As Wham is dropping the stables. I mean, I guess it makes sense initially for trying to intercept the wide scholars. That's probably what Wham's thinking. I can't imagine... He wouldn't want to go mass knights here, would he?
It's difficult, right? I mean, entering Spearman is so easy for Scarlet Devil and the Knights. As you mentioned, part of what enables mass knights for something like French is just that healing, right? Of course, the charge damage and the bonus damage afterwards for them. Luis doesn't have access to any of this, so it feels so much worse to play them. And it's difficult to make it fully work, especially when, you know, there's already 7 Ghazi to Wham's 1 knight. You definitely need that knight if you want to fight in the feudal age, I would say, against a feudal powerhouse like Delhi. Getting that number up high enough before this sacred site capture timing is easier said than done.
Yeah. And it's also just like the problem I find most players run into here against Delhi is like you then overinvest in stopping sacred sites, and then before you realize it, Delhi have just gone castle. Like it's always the great equalizer for them. Because in this situation, if Knights is your savior, well then Delhi could just peck and then look to hold their base with 1 War Elephant. Like I've seen crazier things out of Delhi. I don't know how, but apparently 1 War Elephant's enough to beat everything. Whoop whoop. Balance.
Yeah, the amount of stats and the healing makes any dream come true for the War Elephant. A little while till we see that though for now. Wham is not going to let Scarlet Devil get to that stage for free. Doing a decent job of contesting the site so far considering the significant military disadvantage. No triple cap for Scarlet Devil yet, but a double cap is pretty decent as well, especially on the flanks like this. Normally the center is easier to contest directly. Wham is going to pick up a Scholar here. Trade some of the Knight's health for it.
So, fun thought for you here. If we do get to War Elephant, then people really see it in a different light when you say it like this. When you watch things like War Elephants, does it not kind of feel like they're playing Warcraft 3 and you're playing Age of Empires?
Yeah.
It's a hero,
It's that
isn't it?
quality over quantity, right? It's, you know, the units last so long in Warcraft 3, and they last so little.
And then you pull them back and heal
AoE4.
them, right? Because like losing them like at pro levels, like, oh, that's a GG type move right there, buddy. It's kind of crazy.
All we need is for the War Elephant, like whenever he kills a boar or he kills a wolf, he just, you know, gets like he just gains a level, even more stats, even more damage.
Hey, I've been asking for this. Boars should get increased stats, including food, when they defeat units. Okay, they're eating them, they become big boys. But is this army being big enough? The Ghazi, they're forced to contest this earlier than I think they'd like. Trying to shift around it a bit, but the spearman count is still looking good. The Knights as well. That's going to force him away. Great fight out of Wham here. Scarlet does have the Ghazi finally arriving, but that delay is everything. He has to tuck and run.
Yeah, you do have to be really careful against the Knight Center Tricomp here from Wham. Scarlet Devil, this is what we're talking about, right? The greed. He wanted to go for that castle age. We see that food being banked up. Even now, he's only reinvesting into a few archers, but I think this kind of tempo loss is where Delhi would really start to struggle in this matchup, because now, look at this, the way opens up for those days to be contested. Normally with Delhi, what you're really looking for before you go for that castle age is to at least start securing your day and have the military presence needed to make sure that whilst you're aging, they keep getting secured. Scarlet Devil has neither of those, and it gives Wham the space to, at this point, dive and pick up 2 worker kills on the wood line as well.
Yeah, it's backfiring quick. I mean, Scarlet, this choice to go into castle, I said what 1 War Elephant can do here. You actually need to be able to afford the War Elephant. You also need to be able to tech up. And the position of Wham is looking good here. He's got Undermesh on the way in about 20 seconds. The Ghazi aren't in the base. That's what makes this even wilder. That's info that Wham now knows. So he can keep diving with full conviction here and no worry about it either. The Knights, they're moving across. They're going to see the tech up. He now knows. But he's wasting time currently, chasing after these 3 villages that are being healed.
The rush on the age up is severe. 26. He needs it desperately, but there's not a white tower or anything. You need units after this age up to really make it count. Another knight charges in.
I think the problem there for Wham is like he didn't feel confident he had enough knights. I think he glimpsed it a little bit late. And at that point, it just feels like 4 knights isn't going to last long because Undermesh was still 15 seconds away. So Scarlet, he does clear the threat. But let's keep in mind, this is a guy that's going to have practically no food. Look at that number dropping right now. There's not many sheep left. He has to get out of the base.
And the worst part is that this is not a case where, okay, I'm castle age now, I can get out some luxury units, reassert map control, and finally secure my day. No, most of this day are now cozily sitting on the Wham's town center. And they're not to be regained by Scarlet Devil, so that's just way less food for him, and at the same time, more food for Wham.
little bit of unusual micro there from Wham, though. It just felt like he let a lot of units get away injured instead of finishing them off, losing a knight, losing the spearman. So that does give a little bit of reprieve for Scarlet. He's already queued up 3 more of the scholars. Needs to get that survivability up, not to mention the free technology is out. Where does he go from here, though? Like, I'm looking at food options. You know, the berries far on the west side or the front. So he has to take the risk on the front. Has got the first few knights queued up. But Wham is prepping for castle himself as well.
Close by he is as well. He just keeps getting those spearmen out, right? He knows that the only real threat now is those knights, those lances from Delhi, and of course, a sneaky war elephant coming out. Well, it's not. It wouldn't be very sneaky, let's be honest. But
you say
that would be what stops him.
Ever realized how like stealth forest mute the sound of everything?
Oh yeah.
Like I was casting a game the other day, and I like switched vision, and we went from hearing a lot of Tulac elephants to hearing nothing.
Yeah, when you look in the fog of war and you just hear the roar of the elephants, absolute nightmare fuel.
Wait, Wham? All right. Whoops.
Okay.
That
Happens,
didn't go
you know.
according to plan. Nope.
Happens.
It's a pretty good ball, by the way. Did Scarlet ever scout that corner? That's so obnoxious with the double stealth forest. Apologies, what the hell are we doing? Molo coming out. Wham! Oh. Fighting.
And just like that, suddenly we have a traitor in our midst.
This is always the annoying thing. Yeah, like, this is why I always say make sure you pay your people enough. Because otherwise this happens, Myriad. Okay? You gotta know what your knights are fighting for. And that scholar, man, that guy rolled a nat 20 on the Riz. He just had a way with his words.
Yeah, it's a little while before that knight becomes a boya, right? So, not quite a promotion there, yeah? So he's like, well, you know, Islam's looking quite tempting at this point in time for him.
Whoa, we have free healthcare here as well? Heal. Like how do I change? How do I convert?
That's normally what turns the heads, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that crazy of an idea, you know, Orthodoxy Church, move over. Usually you're recruited into an Ottoman army for that cause.
Now, good thing for Scarlet Devil is that relic priority, right? Classic Delhi move here. Those scholars with even a little bit of breathing room means that all of a sudden, Wham looks at the minimap and there's a noticeable lack of yellow dots, as only his home safe relic at this point is available for him. That can spiral out of control eventually. And again, we're reaching sort of a similar state slowly. He is on board now, Wham, but that deer will not last forever for him. He does still have the high trade house, of course. That's going to keep providing deer for him. But eventually, it's going to turn into a bit of a problem, especially with the maximization of healing from the Delhi Sultanate here, which Scarlet's going to look to employ here. Already starting to hear his high-cost cavalry here, the Ghazis, as well as the lone knight that he managed to convert.
Sees the war elephants like, I'm glad I joined you guys. Sheesh. You got this next fight on lock. Not like Wham's going to have a cajillion crossbowmen waiting for us. Wait a second. Beginning. Is Amir or Scarlet maybe playing this a bit too defensive?
Is the war elephants, right? You know you're dealing with some knights here from Wham. A raid can sneak in so easily, and you kind of have to fight around these war elephants. The issue with them is they're so potent in the fight, but the mobility is the issue. And this is one of the reasons the wars is coming up now as well. I mean, by the time he finishes the wars, the berries are pretty much finished, which is, yeah, that can happen.
But we're safe. I did, not so much. Bless him. 3 pro scouts seems like a good idea until you realize there's not much left in the plate. That's why you pay VIP to get in the restaurant first, Myriad, right? It's all you can eat buffet. Better to be first than come last and miss out on the lobster as well as the shredded duck.
Does appear like Scarlet may have slept just a little bit on some of his upgrades. He does have the secondary food upgrade coming in now, but no level 2 broad axe. No acid distillation.
I don't think he realizes this is happening. There's no pull away, or it's just pure greed that he thinks he can get the berries. Okay, crossbows are coming, but where's the bodyguards?
Is that enough? If he focus fires well...
I think the knights could just charge onto them. He needs to get back towards the gate now. Okay, cover fire coming through, but you have to cover the bodies of the villagers. Instead, he stops moving them.
Stop.
Wait, what? Oh, wow, look, the grass here. Let me pick up some daisies. No, you're going to be pushing daisies here. Come on, get out, now. Whew. Oh, God, he snuck in with a... Wait, that's just a scout.
Yeah, I would have just the scout attack notification distracted him there for a sec. Very well could be the case. Now, that's a lot of war elephants, to be fair.
Yeah, but we're up to, what, 14 crossbowmen? Like, now it gets tricky, because look at the rest of Scarlet's army. It's not really that threatening to mass crossbowmen. And wait, he leaves one?
No. I think this was an A-move situation. His army got split because of it.
Wait, he A-moved the villagers too?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Not too many of them die. I think Textiles is in, but
yeah,
losing a war elephant and a good chunk of the army, that really hurts, KP.
It's the idle time on top of this. You know, you can't get more war elephants. They're going to just insta-die. What are you going to build? He needs something else. He needs archers, really. Crossbows moving in. Scholars to try and pump the heal. A little bit of an overextension. Wham. Will slow down. He wants to focus fire. Like, when it becomes spread like this, hit multiple elephants, it does make Scarlet's life easier.
Yeah. And with so many scholars, right? I mean, you know, we don't even have +2 yet in for Wham yet on the range damage. You have to be careful. You need like at least 20 crossbows, I would say, to actually start reliably hitting these elephants one by one. That's when you can get to that sort of 3-4 hit territory, even through the healing. So just gotta buy this time a little bit more. He has way more food access than Scarlet Devil, right? He just needs to wait for those berries to run out. Keeps consolidating his position on the map. Maybe start taking some of those sacred sites as well. We still don't have a monastery, I think, from Wham. And once all of these are secured, then you can sort of start creeping in and begin taking these down. Just need a little bit of patience. There's no rush whatsoever for Wham in this position. Gonna look to keep putting on the pressure now with a horseman raid towards that left-hand wall.
Yeah, it's not burning through quick enough. He feels a bit paranoid because nothing else is happening right now. He is shifting to the east side ball, so Wham is trying to delay the need for farms while Scarlet is diving into them. This is when Scarlet should, in theory, be weakest. Say that while he has 4 war elephants, but we're about to crack the 30 mark on the counter. That's enough crossbowmen to start shredding through the Delhi village.
The main issue here for Scarlet Devil, right, is normally what we see works so well in combination with a mass of war elephants is a huge archer mass behind them alongside the scholars. That huge archer mass is just not really huge yet. 16, it's not going to be quite the stopper needed to deal with the crossbows and the spearmen and the horsemen. Sure, it's hard for them to pivot around the war elephants, but...
Trying to eliminate the traitor over there. Somehow, he still survives.
Keep rush now by Scarlet Devil. All they needed on the defense here. The fight is about to break. Wham! Charges in directly before the war elephants can connect to block the charge at the front. The crossbows are focus firing straight away.
Yep, one down already. Gonna cycle through them one by one. This is enough DPS to break it, but the castle drop might not make it worth it. So he just hangs around to try and get the war elephant kills. Now needs to retreat. Scarlet gets his stay of execution. He gets the defense to keep Wham away.
Keep his up now as well. That's the space Scarlet needed to really secure his base. Archers a little bit forward, more forward than they should be. Do eat the charge from the horsemen. A couple of them do go down, but the horsemen pay a heavy price for it as well. 2 elephants did go down, but Scarlet Devil has more breathing room now than he did before.
Yeah, this is a bit questionable from Wham, because at this stage, he doesn't really have many farms set up, right? So, like, sacking horsemen, that's an expensive loss, considering he wants to keep investing in them. So, you might just have to slow down now and legitimately think about farms. Even having to do it here because he built the hunting cabin too close to the ball. Yeah, what, 5? Maybe 6 farms total? He's got some on the east side in the berries.
That single farm placement is just really triggering my OCD there. Like, it could so easily be a tile to the left.
There was enough room, yeah.
Like, oh, come on, man.
But you know, like, the problem is, like, if you look, you can see the shadow of the buildings. Like, that's going to keep the sun off of the crops, and that's just not good.
That's true. Yeah. That's well said. Yeah. Didn't think of that one.
That's you know, that's the thing. All right, okay? You live in, like, a town. I live in Suffolk. We're farmerman territory, okay? So I just understand crops in a way that you city folk can't.
Yeah.
Not your fault.
Well, I'm looking to consolidate that knowledge here with that farm placement. And you just keep securing the map more and more, right? We still... Oh no, now we have actually the Warrior Monk finally delivering that safe relic back. So sites should be next on the menu for him. Bit of missed opportunity. Could have probably gotten them in earlier, but, you know, there's so much else to focus on. It's completely understandable. Priorities can change. Finally, the horseman raid does creep in. There's a few villages a bit far away from home.
Still has the 2 war elephants, so we'll scare him off eventually. Not avoid torches down the farm. Problematic considering like wood isn't exactly safe. That keep drop doesn't fully protect the tree line, which is about to get hit. Wham! Moves in for the economy. Scarlet. Reaction speed of a single core processor trying to run Age of Empires 4 there. Ends up losing a few. Dropping down trees.
Just a classic move, right? A couple of seconds ahead of distraction on one side of Scarlet Devil's base, followed by a push in from the other side, results in suddenly a pretty significant economic lead for Wham here. And he's going to look to use the mobility to his full advantage, right? The horseman idling out the left-hand wood line as well. And again, Wham's going to look to re-engage from the north.
Oh man, it's just going to keep happening. This is literally how he ended up winning game 1. It's just a rinse and repeat. Scarlet, he just struggles to maintain his composure when struck from multiple directions.
Well, I'm showing you exactly why mobility is king in this mid-game, especially in Age of Empires 4 when it comes to cavalry. Just like in game 1, the siege really slowed down Scarlet Devil's army movements as the Ottomans. Now, similarly, the living siege in the form of the war elephants is doing the exact same and is causing him to bleed villager by villager. Now, almost a 20 villager lead in favor of Wham at this stage. Horsemen again creeping in onto the farms. More idle time caused. And again in the wood line, another villager goes down. Rinse and repeat. It's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just dives in there. Like, it's an option at this stage, but because he's teching, you can show respect. Because why dive in, Myriad? Okay, death by 1,000 cuts. Like, why rush it? We're finally actually seeing some of the housing coming to use here with the garrison, because it wasn't actually happening earlier. I think he was manually garrisoning the back. The horsemen are everywhere. This,
yeah.
I don't expect him to GG the moment the age comes out, but like, if this wasn't the deciding game, you'd expect it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, what really can you do after that point, right? The high armor is going to finish. So many upgrades are going to be on the way. And you just know as Scarlet that you're just an insane amount of resources behind. I mean, the sheer cost of going Imperial Age is so severe. And the fact that Wham afforded it whilst retaining full map control, military lead, and an economic lead is just dire news here for Scarlet Devil on match point.
It really is. And, you know, like the way that Wham played this is magnificently done. It's not like he was panicking farms in the back. He actually found the perfect time to do it. The moment that castle went down, I think we just saw Wham switch gear, understanding just how hard it is to break a castle, but also how burdenless it is for Scarlet. It pays 900 stone for that thing, has to wait for it to be a second town center, then he's spending more food to get value out of it. Meanwhile, you're just getting infinite food online, and love the way he kind of scatters it around the stealth forest and the tree lines, because of course that's generating gold as you make that farm transition happen.
Exactly. Wham just putting on a clinic on how exactly to deal with these war elephants. It's not about just brute fighting and focusing them down and hoping you have the numbers and the overall stats to beat them. It's about using their slowness against them, right? Raiding from multiple angles, stretching the Delhi army thin. If the elephants are split, if the scholars are split, if the archers are split, then suddenly the army becomes way easier to deal with, and as well you can get quite a nice Imperial Age timing behind it as well, as the Horseman Elite status is in. Crossbowmen to follow too. Wouldn't be surprised to see Streltsy starting to get queued up soon, although, you know, when you're so ahead, you might as well just keep going for the cheaper unit if it still fulfills the job. No need to invest into something more expensive if it's not necessary. You might as well extend your lead further. That seems to be on the cards here for Wham.
In scenario biology, I think makes more sense. Like Streltsy, like when you math it out, it's kind of crazy just how efficient those techs are compared to how many Streltsy you get for the same price, you know? Like and it's slow as well, man. It's so slow to mass Streltsy. You can trickle them. You know where I'm going to go with this. Like every single time I've seen a Roost player hit Imp and immediately queue up all the Streltsy, they somehow lose the game because it's such a slow combat scale.
Yeah, it's very slow, and although the Streltsy has just insane damage output once you have the mass, and they are able to stand the ground in the meat grinder, the range is a big problem, right? Especially against boosted range archers with Pakes here. that Scarlet Devil has access to. 35 on the field now, and 30 scholars behind as well. It's tough to get that mass going. But the Bombard is on the field. Second one rolling through as well. The keep is not long for this world, and Wham is looking to seal the deal.
Scarlet, he gathered a lot of stone, but that was meant to be for extra castles here. You have to waste it all now trying to keep this one up, but 2 Bombards to come in, like, it's going to be difficult to contest. He's only just about holding on against one here. Elephant step up, and speaking of damage, goodbye. This is not a Dumbo tail, okay? This is deep in the Safari. This is pre-Jumanji, when the Hunter won. Scholars just trying to hold on. The Horseman breaking through gradually here. At this point, the DPS too good. Wham! Too good. He will seal the deal, shut down the Elephanto Fun Time, and make it a 3-1 victory over Scarlet Devil.
After a rough second game, Wham looks to reconsolidate his position in the series and comes back in a relatively swift back-to-back victory here and secures the series 3-1. Great effort by Scarlet Devil though in the series. A lot of the games have looked very competitive, but just slipping a little bit near the end, and against a player of Wham's caliber, a little slip up is all he needs to run away with the game.
It's an interesting idea that we saw coming out, right? That time to War Elephant completely slowed down the game, but you know, we said after game 1 is like, how does Scarlet win? Okay, he needs to be in control of the flow, and it looked like he was doing that when you consider game number 2. But then this was just like polar opposite. You know, we returned to where we began this series, almost like that third game. Because of the different style, like it kind of threw you off, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just elephants being elephants. I'll try again what I've done before. But you know, the thing that should be promising here, Myriad, is Scarlet. Like him actually getting a game off of Wham is impressive. You know, because we mentioned going to series, he's been struggling to find his performance on best of 5s. Best of 3s, he looks stellar. BO5s, he just tends to always fall completely.
It's just the caliber of players that he's facing at the moment as well, right? When you breach through into this top 12, every match becomes so difficult as these players just look phenomenal, right? Very hard to make a best of 5 look really, really competitive and bring it to that 5th game. So even one win is very, very good performance by Scarlet Devil. And of course, it's only the first match of the entire main event so far. The Scarlet Devil is not out just yet. Well, has plenty of chances here.
He's a tough opponent later on, right? It'll either be a rematch against Wham or going up against Lucifron. So, you know, sweaty groups. There's not many that are easy. And